Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today I am gonna talk about some books that I didn't give 5 stars at the time, but basically were almost 5-star reads, and now I'm questioning if I should just give them 5 stars because in my head I have loved them so much for such a long time that why didn't I just give them 5 stars to begin with? So I'm gonna try to explain on each book like why I felt like I didn't give it at the time and if I want to give it now. So basically, almost 5-star reads, it doesn't really make sense because 5-star feelings in general, it's like I'm looking for a certain feeling, it doesn't always give me that, but I feel like the effect the book has had on me later and how much like when I talk about it, it feels like a favorite and it feels like a book that I should have given 5 stars to begin with. So, I don't know why I didn't. Star ratings are super weird. I feel like I could make a whole video about it. But let's just get into these books in this one. So first we have the first books that I thought about when thinking about this video. And I don't know why I haven't given them 5 stars. That is Gideon and Ninth and also its sequel Gideon and Ninth by Tamsin Muir. This one I read 2 times, Gideon and Ninth. I read it for the first time on audio, which was, I would say, a confusing experience, and then I reread it physically when we were reading it for Facing Yes, which was for our first pick for like overall the club, and I loved it the first time I read it. I thought it was weird and different, but overall just super confusing. Forgot to say what it was about. Basically, it's lesbian necromancers in space. The god Undying is looking for another, I was gonna say companion, and then they go into this competition to become the next companion beside God, and people are dying. But basically, it's a very confusing book. It's written in such a confusing way, and however or not you think will give you answers, it literally just continues the confusing vibe, which is very bold and very interesting how the author chose to do the sequel. And how I talk about Gideon and Ninth, it's like, it's not on my favorites list because I haven't given it 5 stars, but I feel like it just upped my rating on both of them, and then in my head they will become favorites. It's super weird, but it's just like when I talk about it, it's like, oh my god, it's my favorite. I love them to death. I love them so much. I would die for these books. And then like I didn't give them 5 stars. Why? But I think initially it's because it starts out so confusing, especially the first book and then the second book. 250 pages in, that's when you get the answers. So it's a lot of like, 250 pages is a long time to stay confused. But now when I think about it in aftermath, and now it's been such a long time since I read them, I just like, the confusion is gone. Because now like I'm so used to thinking about them, you know? I don't feel the initial confusion when reading them. So I feel like now they could definitely be 5-star books, and like I want to consider them my favorites, and I feel like every time I talk about favorite books, I always look at like my 5-star books, which makes sense. But these are my favorite books too, and should just get 5 stars. And also they are brilliant books, so they deserve 5 stars for that as well. So yeah, upping my rating on Goodreads after this, definitely. Then another book that I kinda read in the same area of time, because it kind of released in the same area of time, that was a sentence twice, and that is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This one is the first one in a series, and it's obviously Leigh Bardugo's adult debut with dark academia vibes, and we have a main character who can see ghosts, and she also goes into this investigation for murders that are happening on campus, and she's part of secret societies at Yale. At the time when I read it on audiobook, and I still haven't reread it, but I really do want to, and I feel like I was so engaged in the story and I loved it so much. I don't know why I didn't give 5 stars. Now I consider it like a super solid book that I adored, and I feel like I would talk about it again more if I given it 5 stars, because then again, check my 5-star reads, it will be there. I will remember how much I loved it. I think at the time it was something about like the murder mystery or something that like didn't vibe as much with me, and like I feel like when there's something not vibing with you, that's when I like feel like I can't give it 5 stars. But now at this point I'm like, who cares? You don't need to vibe with every aspect of the story if you love it. Just 5-star that bitch, you know? And I feel like that's why I need to upper my rating, and maybe I should reread it, but like I feel like just how I feel about the book now is like one of the best books I read, so I don't know why it just haven't gotten 5 stars. That's why sometimes rating right after reading is not the best thing, because I feel like I can't change it later, but then some things just need to have a change. This is one of them. The next one, I definitely do not know why I didn't give 5 stars at the time, but that is Fifth Season by Anki Jemisin. This one is the first one in the series, and it basically said this world where these quakes happens to the land every so often, so like everyone needs to reset and resettle into the land, and we have a main character who's son was just murdered by the father, and then he is also taking the daughter, and then she's going after them to save her daughter. And that's like initially how it starts out. And really, fifth season is such a unique book, not just because it's told in second person, but just the way, the world building, the plot, how it shocks you to the bones, how you will fall for the characters, how you fall for the story. It is amazing, and I'm getting goosebumps. And I don't know why I didn't give this 5 stars. Like, honestly, I read this also ish in the area of same time of actually the 2 first others, because I was in Japan, and I remember distinctly I was listening to audiobook, and I was like making food or doing the dishes or whatever, and I was so engaged in the story. Like, it got me. Also, audiobooks saved my life in Japan apparently. Just the uniqueness of this as well, how the world is built, and the magic system, as I just said, it's just nothing else like I ever read. So this should instantly get 5 stars. I don't know why it didn't, but I think like I was apprehensive for some reason, but I cannot literally remember why. It was probably like because I was a bit confused in the beginning. Me and confusion, you know. Some confused books are the best. And like, I think the first book from my side is like my favorite and the one I love the most. The like how it all wraps up together, because I read the whole series, is amazing as well. So hello, here I am, and I'm gonna go and upper my rating on Goodreads. Then we have a huge one, which is To Sleep in Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini. This one I actually had an arc of, and I read it in like 2 days, and I did love it. But then I remember at the time, I just felt like the story, I don't know why exactly I felt like this, but at the time when I first read it, I felt like the story wasn't like shocking. I don't know how to describe it, but it wasn't like a totally unique story. I felt like I had seen it before, and because of that I just felt like a bit let down by it, because I was like, it is good, but I've seen it before. I don't know how to describe it. But then as time went by, I remembered fondly that I of course enjoyed it. I gave it I think 4.5 stars the first time I read it, and then last year I decided to reread it on audiobook, and it was just amazing. I loved it so much more. I don't know why. It was just like I knew I was getting into. I could understand much better all the different factions in the world, and how this is a big epic space opera, and how much it would take to write this. And I didn't think about like the whole like have seen it before part at all. So I don't know where I got that from when I first, you know, read it. And then I still gave it 4 stars. I don't know why. I think it was like, oh my god, I could almost give it 5 stars, but I didn't. And now I'm like, just give that 5 stars. It's like an amazing, amazing book. And I want to like have it as a 5 star so I can recommend it more to others and be like, this was great. This was amazing. And also like, why wouldn't I? I feel like I loved every part of the story. There's like no parts I didn't like. I'm so excited for Christopher to write more in the world. The second time I read it, I feel like when shocking stuff even happened, I was still shocked by it. And just, again, how everything came together, etc, etc. I know some people don't love the ending. I love the ending. I loved it to pieces. So, yeah, need to upper my rating for this one as well, so it can go into the fave place in my heart, because I feel like it's already there, you know? Then we have another book that like, you know when you reread a book, you read them maybe once and then you need to read them another time. So you read them at least twice. And then you like read them 3 times. And then maybe you read them 4 times. I don't actually know if I read this 4 times, but I feel like I read it at least 3. Potentially 4. So that is of course The Witcher Last Wish by Andrzej Sapkowski. This is the first book in the Witcher series. It is like the short stories, but it is also my favorite in the whole series. I think when they get longer, they get worse. But it just introduces, you know, the Witcher as a character, and it introduces all the other characters that we love and know. And I don't know why, because every time I read this, every time I have forgotten which short stories is in here. So every time I get shocked. But like it's stuff happening in short stories because they're known tales with twists, and I've forgotten the twists every time, and I love that for me. I love it for me. Every time I read this, I give it 4 stars, but at this point, I'm just like, this is a 5-star book, because I read it, first of all, so many times. Every time I read it, I'm completely and utterly in love with it. And I love the characters and I love the world. And this is my favorite on the whole series. And I love the series and the world, but I think the story and how it's told and just like the pacing of the story could work. And I don't say that every book in the series is a 5-star for me, but this one is. I don't know, I just didn't give it 5 stars initially. But now I'm just like, it's a 5-star in my heart. It is, in my opinion, the best one in the series. I'm 5-starring this bitch now. Okay? So, I know what I was struggling with, but here we are. I'm just doing it because look at this. Okay, I love it a lot. And the next one we have is Ray Bearer by Jordan Ufireko. And this one is the first one in this duology, which basically follows a main character who's like, mother is like the mother of demons. She's sent out to kill the prince for revenge, and then she needs to love him, to get close to him so that she can kill him, because he has this council thing that he uses his ray on people, and every time he adds another person to his council, he gets immune against one certain death. And it's just really cool, the aspect that there's other parts of the story that's so cool. I love this. I don't know why I didn't give it 5 stars. It is a YA and it suffers a bit from it because I think, again, there's so much complexity in this story that could have blossom more under like the adult frame, but at the same time it's just so good for what it is. And I think like just the aspects of the story and just how everything comes together, etc, 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 it deserves a 5 star for that alone, but also how much I actually love the story. I don't think the sequel is a 5 star book. I think that is a 4 star book, like a really strong one, and I do enjoy that. But like just the memories I have from this is so good. I remember reading the beginning and I like, oh my god, this is a 5 star book instantly, and then the mid part I was like, it's not a 5 star book anymore, and then I was really sad, but then the ending was also crazy. But now since it's been so long, I can't remember why the middle part wasn't 5 stars, so I feel like I should just upper it anyway so I can talk more about it, etc. I don't know why I'm such a critical ass to myself. I'm very picky sometimes when I read, and then at later times, like now, I'm trying to change, which I haven't done before, so this is a bit exciting, like change my like not be so picky part, you know? I'm reading for fun, you know? I think what this got is a 5 star, and I'm gonna stand behind it, okay? And the last book we have here is a Norwegian book, actually, which is a bit funny, but it is being translated, so it will be called The Iron Wolf in English. But here I have Jernulven by C. Patterson, which is a Norwegian fantasy author who wrote like one of my favorite series of all time, which is also Norwegian, but it has now been translated finally. This one is kind of like set in the same universe as the first trilogy, but it's not like set together because it's like in a separate universe, world, whatever you're calling it. And I remember reading it and I was like really into it, but then also I was really confused, and then but it was also amazing. It was amazing, and I don't know why I didn't give it 5 stars. I was just like so close. I was like, is it a 5 star? Is it? And I was like, no, it's 4. No, it's 5. No, it's 4. Because like there was some parts of the story that, like, as I said, I was confused, didn't like completely like utterly love, and you know, I'm the picky one, even though it even gave me 5 star feeling, but then some parts I didn't feel that at all, so that's why I felt like it couldn't have a 5 star. Here I am saying it's a 5 star. I loved it, okay, and I want to reread it. I'm so excited for this sequel. I'm gonna cry. I'm just waiting. When was this released again? I need to check. 2020. That's 2 years ago. How have I survived this long? I feel like time has passed so fast. I didn't even know it was 2020. Literally loved it. Should reread it. And I just decided I'm giving it 5 stars, okay? It's just, that's the point of this video. But yeah, that was some books that I loved at the time when I read them, but I didn't give them 5 stars for several reasons, apparently. Don't know what happened to Cassandra. Clearly, she was not okay. She was trying to be cool, critical reader. No, I'm joking. I feel like I love this book a lot. I feel like I talked about them enough over the years as well, like since I read them. And I know where they are in my heart. So they deserve that 5 star, and I feel like that's what I should have given them from the beginning. It is like something about the feeling right after you finish a book. It's like, it needs to settle in, you know? And these have settled now. So here we are. I thought that this would be a fun little video to make as well. Give me books down below that you didn't give 5 stars, but you feel like you should have, or you are gonna change them now maybe. Leave a star emoji down below if you enjoyed this, and you will see me soon in a new video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!